Today, I'm going to talk about the best foods to break your fast with for fat loss. All right. So when you wake up in the morning from a good solid sleep from the previous night, you are ready to break your fast. Fasting is what happens when you're not eating, and when you're sleeping, you're not eating. And so breakfast is the first meal we use to actually interrupt that fasting period. Now, during fasting, your metabolism is in gear to burn down calories, burn down extra body fat. And so when you break your fast, you're actually going to be putting more fuel in your body and your metabolism shifts into fat storing mode. But you can actually eat foods that can flip the script on that. And there are certain foods that will trigger fat burning and therefore weight loss. And this is what I wrote about in my book, Eat to Beat Your Diet. In other words, you can actually eat food to lose weight. Eat food to burn harmful body fat. Okay, now here's the amazing thing about how foods do this. Foods can actually burn down harmful body fat by activating your gut microbiome. That's the 39 trillion healthy bacteria in our gut. And when our gut bacteria are well fed, it improves our lipids, it improves our metabolism, it improves our glucose and insulin sensitivity. It actually does all kinds of things, including helping our body increase metabolism and burn down harmful body fat. The other thing that foods can do is that foods contain natural chemicals. We call them bioactives. They're biologically active. And some of those bioactives, in fact, many of the bioactives I write about in my book, Eat to Beat Your Diet, turn on something called brown fat. Brown fat is a kind of healthy, helpful fat, good fat in your body. And the reason it's good is that brown fat actually burns down harmful bad fat. Okay, and that's called white fat. Brown fat, good fat, burns down bad fat, white fat. Now, all fat is actually good to some degree. We need fat actually to be able to help manage hormones in our body, to be able to store fuel from the food that we eat. So fat is actually quite important. However, too much fat means that we need to actually burn it down to keep it under control. And brown fat can actually do that. And there are foods that contain bioactives, which I'm going to talk about, that actually can help you burn down harmful extra body fat. So when you wake up in the morning, you're breaking your fast. Your fast is where your body was in fuel burning, fat burning mode. And when you actually get up to eat breakfast, you're breaking that cycle. So what kind of foods can you actually put into your body in order to be able to help to burn down fat? Eating food to burn fat. I'm going to talk about 5 of these foods. And the first one is yogurt. Yogurt is a beneficial dairy product. I know there's a lot of controversy out there about dairy. I will actually tell you it's not clear. It's not as clear as black and white. What types of dairy might be harmful versus better for you. It's not good versus evil. But I will tell you that yogurt, studies of yogurt have shown that yogurt is the one dairy product that's absolutely beneficial. In fact, this actually came from ancient old observations of monks in Bulgaria eating whole yogurt and living to ripe old ages. And a Nobel Prize winner named Mechnikov actually observed that Bulgarian monk longevity was associated with eating Bulgarian whole yogurt. So yogurt's probiotic. The probiotic actually is healthy bacteria that feeds our own healthy gut bacteria. And that healthy gut bacteria streamlines our metabolism, manages the lipids, helps to burn down extra body fat. And in fact, you can actually lose weight. So yogurt is one of the good breakfast foods that can actually help improve your metabolism as a breakfast food. And I can tell you from having many trips in the Mediterranean, especially Greece, that yogurt is a staple, healthy food that you eat first thing in the morning. Now, if you get yogurt, I'm going to actually give you a little tip. You want to get whole yogurt, not low-fat yogurt. And you might say, Dr. Lee, like that actually doesn't make sense. Isn't low-fat yogurt the preferred yogurt? We don't want to have whole dairy fat, right? Wrong. It turns out that all the clinical studies have shown that whole fat yogurt actually doesn't cause you to gain weight and it doesn't increase cholesterol. Quite the opposite. It actually helps you lose weight and lower blood cholesterol. And the reason is this. The healthy bacteria that you're eating from whole yogurt, the probiotic element of yogurt, improves your metabolism, improves your lipids, and improves your ability to lose excess body fat. Low-fat yogurt, in fact, ironically, causes your lipids to rise and, in fact, increases your weight, can increase your weight. And the reason is this: low-fat yogurt at the manufacturer is where they remove the fat. Now, you know what happens in low-fat milk when you take whole milk and you remove the fat to low-fat milk? You know, it's kind of a tepid, thin milk, like watered-down milk. Well, when you do that to yogurt, which has a lot of body to it, when you remove fat from yogurt to low-fat yogurt, whole fat to low fat, you remove the body of the yogurt, and it kind of gets to be like a thick kind of milk. Not something that people would actually find very attractive to eat. And so what yogurt manufacturers do is they add emulsifiers. These are thickeners, and some of them are artificial thickeners. There are things like polysorbate 80, carrageenan. There's different kinds of thickeners that are actually used. And, you know, we used to think that was okay, except that more recently, researchers have found that emulsifiers like polysorbate 80 and carrageenan can damage your gut microbiome. Now, you damage your gut microbiome, you have the opposite effect of what whole yogurt does, which is to support and feed your gut microbiome. Now, the low fat is damaging it. And not surprisingly, that actually sets you up for increased inflammation. That can actually take away from the ability of yogurt to actually your gut microbiome and what yogurt does to help support it, to be able to smooth out your metabolism, improve lipid control, improve your overall glucose, blood sugar levels. And so ironically, low-fat yogurt, because of the damage of the emulsifiers to your gut microbiome, isn't better for weight loss or burning down extra body fat. All right. So the other little tip when you're actually getting yogurt, in addition to getting the whole yogurt, is not to buy commercial yogurt that's pre-packed with a layer of fruit or jam. Those products are ultra processed, number one, and it's really just a layer. The layer of fruit is actually just a jam usually, or chopped up fruit. They can be sugar sweetened. It can have artificial preservatives actually in it. I recommend that if you want a sweetened yogurt, cut your own ripe seasonal fruits right into it, right from the market, whether it's a melon, berry, whatever it is. Fruit will have dietary fiber, which then to your yogurt, which actually contributes even more to your gut health, which then helps you lose weight even more. If you want to follow the Greek method of actually having whole yogurt in the morning, take some crushed nuts. Walnuts, pistachios, pecans, for example, are great ways to add extra fiber. And if you really want your yogurt to be a little sweet, fresh cut fruit will actually sweeten it. You want to add a little more sweetener and you want to do it Greek style, you can add a little bit of honey into it. Just make sure it's like organic honey, really high quality honey. Honey is also bioactives as well that can improve the antioxidant quality of your blood. All right, so now that's actually something that has been studied with buckwheat honey specifically. So that would be something to actually look forward to. Recently, when I was on a research trip to Greece, I actually had a choice, offering of honey in the morning. You can actually cut it right out of the honeycomb, and you just take a little block of honeycomb and put right into your honey. It's absolutely really delicious way to enjoy my yogurt. Now, second food that I want to say for breakfast, good for weight loss, is actually to have fresh fruit. Now, I love fresh seasonal fruit. Peaches in the summer, pears in the fall, winter, oranges, citrus in the winter. Whatever is seasonal is what I love to have. Look, you don't have to go to a farmer's market to find seasonal foods, although that's a really great place to find it. In the grocery store, usually in the produce section, in the front part, the first part you encounter, they'll usually have locally grown fruit that you can actually get, and you should ask the grocer of the produce section if you don't know what's actually local and what's actually fresh or seasonal. Now, fruits have polyphenols in them, and those polyphenols can activate your metabolism and activate your brown fat. Activating brown fat to burn down white fat. Good fat fights bad fat, burns down harmful body fat. You can actually lose weight that way. Fruit also contains fiber. Fiber is good for the gut microbiome, which actually does all the good things we just talked about. Now, of the fruits and for breakfast that I like berries. I like strawberries, blackberries, blueberries. You know, strawberries have ellagic acid, activates brown fat. Blueberries have anthocyanins, blueberries and blackberries. I actually like blackberries as well. Those are also really great for metabolic health, and they trigger thermogenesis. Brown fat turns on, burns down the excess calories from stored in white fat, especially visceral fat. Your waist size can actually shrink because there's less fat pushing out against the diameter of your body. You can actually lower inflammation, lower weight as well. When it comes to buying fruit, I often now suggest that you buy organic, especially for berries, because you can't really wash off pesticides on the skin, can't peel a berry. And organic is actually going to also have higher levels of polyphenols. Regardless of whether you buy organic or conventional, what you do want to do is to really wash it really well. A good practice is to take a metal bowl, put your berries in it, and rinse it under cold running water for about a minute, and move it around so you're actually knocking off any debris that might actually be on the fruit. All right. I love to eat fruit just plain. I have a summer juicy peach, slice it up and eat it. That's it. That's good enough for me. It's delicious. But as I said before, you can actually add cut fruit to yogurt. Now you actually have healthy yogurt, healthy fruit. Now you've actually added like a double-barreled approach to your metabolic health and fat fighting and weight loss. If you want to use fruit in a smoothie, that's also fine. What you should just be careful about is that how many fruits you actually put into your smoothie. Now, if you eat a whole fruit, usually if I eat one peach, that's good enough for me, or one orange, I'll be satisfied. But if you actually want to make a smoothie, you'll be dumping a lot of fruit in there. And don't forget, if you have a lot of fruit, you need a lot of fruit to make a smoothie, that can be a lot of sugar from the fruit as well. So in other words, to make a smoothie with a peach, you might take, 3 or 4 or 5 peaches, whereas I would only eat one peach and get only the sugar from one peach. And sugar is fine, but actually when you eat a lot of fruit, you're actually getting a lot of sugar, which is more calories, which then counters your goal of actually losing weight and fighting extra body fat. So that's my caveat as you're making a smoothie. The third fruit I would actually recommend are tree nuts. Now, tree nuts might not seem like the traditional breakfast food, but it's a great source of protein. And when you're actually trying to lose weight and lose extra body fat, you actually want to make sure you don't lose muscle mass. And so to build muscle, you got to stay active, but to build muscle, you also need protein. So eating tree nuts are a great source of protein. On the weight loss side, tree nuts are a great source of dietary fiber. And as we talked about before, dietary fiber features gut microbiome, which then helps to fight harmful body fat. And you can lose visceral fat and shrink that tube. So your waistline at your waist circumference actually shrinks, and lower inflammation and improve immunity. All this with tree nuts. You can actually, as I said, add some chopped tree nuts to your yogurt, add some fruit on top of that. Now you get a triple-barreled approach to health. Okay. Now, if you're in a hurry in the morning, and sometimes I'm in a hurry, just grab a handful of tree nuts with you to take as a snack, or you can pop them in your mouth on your way to work or whatever it is you're actually in a hurry to get to. And number one, that actually is a good source of protein. It'll make you feel like you've had something to eat. It's good for your metabolism. Again, helps to burn down extra body fat. But the other benefit of nuts is that it actually stimulates satiety, meaning makes you feel fuller. So you're less likely to overeat when you sit down for a proper lunch. Now, if you're going to buy nuts, one of the things that I recommend is to buy just regular plain old bulk nuts. All right. That's not pre-flavored, pre-seasoned. When you go to the gas station or you're at the airport, you can actually look at all these packages of nuts that are in a healthy section, but then if you take a look at the ingredients, they're barbecued flavor, pizza flavored, all kinds of other, wasabi flavored. When you take a look at the ingredient label for those flavored nuts, you'll see those are ultra processed foods. Something good has become ultra processed with materials. They've been sprayed with things that are ultra processed, and now there's also artificial chemicals. I recommend that you get plain nuts from the bulk section, mix them up, get the ones that you like, season them yourself. Just go to the spice cabinet. If you want to actually, make it sweet, you make it salty, savory, cinnamon, all kinds of different things you can do. And you don't need to have a big bag of the spice. You can take the bulk nuts, pick out the ones you want, and season them up your own way. You can be creative about it. It tastes a lot tastier. All right. And the other way that you can enhance the flavor of nuts, if you like and you have the time, toast them really quickly in like a stainless steel pan. Put it on the heat, put the nuts on it, and just shake the pan around. and you'll start smelling the aroma of the nuts. Don't burn it. Be careful. You got to keep those nuts moving. We're just talking about a minute or two while shaking on a pan of getting the nuts toasted, and now it actually has got this incredible aroma. That, for me, is enough to actually make the nuts really, really tasty. All right, we talked about yogurt, we talked about fruit, we talked about nuts. Now let's talk about my fourth food, avocado. Now, avocado is a great source of dietary fiber. It's a soft food, but it's got soluble fiber, soft flesh packed with fiber, good for your gut microbiome. And anything good for your gut, it's going to be good for your metabolism. It's going to actually help to burn down extra body fat. And avocado has actually been shown also to improve cognitive health as well, good for brain health. Now, one of the things that avocado has besides fiber, it has healthy fats. These are called MUFAs, M-U-F-A, monounsaturated fatty acids. Not quite as good as PUFA, which is polyunsaturated fatty acids like omega-3s, but good nonetheless. And that's good for your metabolism. And avocados also have a bioactive called avocatin B, as in boy, which actually has been shown to improve metabolism as well. Now, so all these reasons to actually have avocado. Now, another reason to have avocado is that if you want to really absorb other bioactives that are beneficial for fat fighting, like tomatoes. Tomatoes contain lycopene, and lycopene has been shown to actually improve weight loss, burns down harmful body fat, can shrink your waistline. Eating an avocado with tomatoes, or at the same meal, the fat of the avocado helps your body absorb the lycopene, which is fat soluble. And now you get even more lycopene. So now you get all the benefits from the avocado and you get the benefits from the tomato. Now, I'm not telling you to have avocado and salsa for breakfast, but if you have if you eat eggs and you want to make it ranch style, you might have avocado with tomato, some salsa on your omelet. And so that's actually good. So avocado, you can slice it, eat it plain. You can spread it on sourdough bread. Sourdough contains Lactobacillus reuteri. That gives the lactobacillus is what gives your sourdough its tangy flavor.